What's up, guys? Mr. No Soups back with another video today. And today this is going to be a video more kind of similar to the Orlando Magic video, just in a slightly more negative way. Today we're going to be analyzing one of the rebuilding teams of the NBA and the Houston Rockets, with pieces like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., and Alperen Sengun all being the big three pieces right now that they have and trying to build around, obviously along with guys like Jabari Smith Jr. But my biggest thing when I look at this team is just how much they seem to not have an identity in terms of just how they play as a team. And I think in part this is due to guys like Stephen Silas, but it's also in part due to the teaching or lack thereof for these young vet guys because they don't have veterans. When Eric Gordon's your only vet, what on earth are you expected to do? And after the Houston Rockets just won their first game over the last 13 games, it's kind of time for us to start kind of analyzing this team, as they are 30th in offense and 28th in defense. And I understand they're not meant to be a good team. I'm not saying they should be top 10 or top 15, but they should look like they at least are going in a positive direction like most rebuilds. So today, guys, I'm going to sit here and tell you why right now, this year, more so in the offseason, is the most important offseason for this team and their future, because they don't have their guy yet. And I think it's time we need to look at why they don't have a guy yet. And we can only do that by first liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment on what you guys want to see next. And of course, we got to look at Jalen Green, the second overall pick just from a few years ago. So on this first play here, we see Green has the ball in the corner. And obviously right now he has the ability to kick it out right here to the open man in the far corner, maybe out to Jabari Smith or back to Kevin Porter Jr., but I would just say go to the right corner man, as that's the least difficult path. But instead, he tries to go for this double contested layup that just gets absolutely blocked at the rim. And now we're going to see here again, he has the ability to kick it out to KPJ and Eric Gordon, who's very clearly calling for the ball in frustration. And instead, he just chucks it with so much time left on the shot clock, you're kind of questioning what the point of this whole play was. And on this right here, this is actually a great play by Green, because I think he's one of the better finishers for his size, at least. As you see here, he gets by Horford just enough to get a beautiful contact finish. And honestly, you guys, when I was analyzing Jalen Green, my biggest issue is he was called a prolific scorer coming out of college. NBA Draft.net compared him even to Bradley Beal or Zach LaVine. And honestly, right now, I just don't see it. I understand he's only in his second year. I'm not saying Jalen Green's a bust or can never be what we propped him up to be. But this shot selection, you guys, I just don't get it. I don't understand what we're supposed to be seeing right now, because the shot selection is just so poor at times that I'm like, what are we supposed to be doing? And honestly, I think that's part of the issue that the Houston Rockets as an organization are having right now. They don't necessarily think Jalen Green is the number one guy on that team. And honestly, I can kind of understand why when you look at the efficiencies. And of course, now we got to talk about Kevin Porter Jr., who's in his fourth year already, which is crazy to think about. And as we see here in this shot, when he had a wide open man in the corner or just about anywhere else, he just airballs his three with time left on the clock. Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Sengun is right here. Eric Gordon's wide open in the left corner. You could even kick it back to Jalen Green for a shot, but instead, this man tries to act like he's Kobe in 2005 and hits this little mid-range fadeaway, and it's just nothing but brick. And this right here, though, this is a beautiful move by KPJ. It's his ability to go and finish through contact. Him and Jalen Green by far are best at their paint finishing compared to everywhere else on the court. While KPJ is an all-around better shooter than Green, both of these guys are at 50% or over according to NBA.com when you look at the shooting splits at the rim. So these smaller guards who are really good at finishing at the rim are instead taking so many of these threes or middies that I'm just like, what is the shot selection, and how do you as a coach in Stephen Silas not say, hey guys, let's just go and attack the rim more, and maybe use Sengun to try and help you get there. And speaking of Sengun, we need to talk about why Sengun, I think, needs to be the main facilitator here of the offense. He gets the ball here and the defenses collapse. And as the defenses collapse, Sengun just gets a beautiful alley-oop to the open man, as we see his manipulation of the defense. And we're going to see why Sengun's such a good playmaker here, but we're also going to see just how terrible the Houston overall offense is. Now watch this. What on earth are we doing right here? Nobody's moving. There's an attempt at a screen, kinda. And you can see Sengun after he throws his arm around like, guys, come on, we got to do something. This man cuts, and Sengun gets one of the prettiest passes I've seen all year. Just that beautiful behind the back of the defender for an easy dunk at the rim. Honestly, guys, I don't necessarily think Sengun is the guy either, though. I don't think he's necessarily the most prolific scorer, but I think he could be an incredible second playmaker to even maybe if you develop more primary playmaker in their team. And I think part of the issue is they have so many guards that don't necessarily look to play make, that don't necessarily try to play make. And that's okay, but at some point you have to be able to start to generate offense for yourself and others. Otherwise, you're never going to go anywhere. And now, guys, I kind of want to talk about this team as a whole and what I think their future direction should be. Obviously, guys, the biggest piece would be, well, Emster, go get Victor Wembanyama. Well, right. However, there is one thing I could also think could be, in some ways, even more valuable than getting Victor. It's getting Scoot Henderson. I think Scoot's playmaking ability, along with his scoring ability, might necessarily bring that balance that the team desperately needs from a primary playmaker. Because right now, the shot selection of the team is terrible. And I'm sorry, Stephen Silas. At some point, you get to tell your team to stop shooting threes. According to Basketball Reference, when we look at the team stats, 3 points attempted, they're sitting at 35 3-pointers attempted a game, which is 10th in the league. And they are 29th in 3-point percentage. They are almost dead last in 3-point percentage, but top 10 in attempts. At some point, you have to be understanding that you're just not a 3-point shooting team. Or even if you are, limit it to be smarter shots. Similar to what the Lakers have done when I was discussing that in my AD video. It's all about the selection, and I think that's part of the issue here in Houston. There's so many young guys. And you have a guy in Eric Gordon who, honestly, we can all tell, doesn't want to be there. Well, nobody's really going to learn anything if they don't really have an older guy to sit there and go, hey, don't take these kinds of shots. Let's think instead of playing to our strengths, instead of continuing to fuel our weaknesses for the opponent to attack. Honestly, guys, I think the Houston Rockets are in one of the toughest rebuilding positions because they have so many pieces, but none of them have quite panned out to emerge as the guy. So to me, you guys, this draft is make or break for this rebuild, especially considering they only get the Nets pick next year, and unless KD or Kyrie both just leave the Nets, that pick isn't going to be the most valuable pick in the world. So you guys, this was Emster No Soups. And I know this is a more negative video. I'm not trying to say any of these young prospects are bad by any means. But I'm just trying to tell you guys that I don't think the Rockets have a direction. And if you watch them play, I think it's clear. And I think they need to move on from Stephen Silas and really focus on getting a Scoot Henderson in their future to be the primary scorer and playmaker, as guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. just aren't making the cut. So guys, this was Emster No Soups. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Peace out.